The following material is presented for informational and sales purposes only and represents our understanding of generally applicable rules. It is not intended and does not set forth solutions to individual situations. New York Life Insurance Company, its agents, or employees may not give legal, tax, or accounting advice, and none is intended nor should be inferred from the information herein. Clients should consult their own professional advisors prior to implementing any planning strategies. This material includes a discussion of one or more tax-related topics prepared to assist in the promotion or marketing of the transactions or matters addressed. It is not intended and cannot be used by any taxpayer for the purpose of avoiding any IRS penalties that may be imposed upon the taxpayer.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, December 10th show. I provide you news on everything money, fresh information, and market trends in our local economy. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can talk with any of the guests I have in studio, talk with myself, your host, by calling the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio, I have Tony Sablan with Eagle Strategies New York Life talking about financial strategies. Tony, thank you for joining me back in studio. Happy holidays to you as well.
Happy holidays to you too. And thanks for having me again.
A little bit about Tony. Tony is wealth advisor with Eagle Strategies, LLC. He's also the founder of Ultimate Wealth Strategies based in Bellevue, Washington. Tony works with individuals, families, and business owners to identify what motivates them, what keeps them up at night, and focus on their financial solutions that can help make their goals a reality. He not only relies on his own knowledge and experience, but also an expertise of his team and specialists. His mission is to develop endearing relationships with the clients and providing expert guidance pertaining to life insurance strategies, investments, and upgrading people's financial plans. Tony's also a soon-to-be author for his financial planning book coming out fourth quarter of this year. So excited to read that, Tony. So Tony, it's the holiday season and people are busy with shopping, year-end planning, hosting, and visiting families. How can you help my listeners get their finances in check?
Well, if you think about it, building a strong financial future for your family is like building a house.
Mm-hmm.
You start from the ground up, and the holiday season is a great time to review your financial plan or begin your financial plan. And waiting till after the new year comes will just add another year to your procrastination or your to-do list. So get your plan done now so that you can build upon your strong foundation throughout the year and focus on the things you should be focusing on, like spending time with family, work, and making more money. And a couple hours of your time now to secure your financial future is small compared to the hours you spend in traffic or dealing with day-to-day stuff come 2017.
Yeah, and I like how you use the example of building a home, because it is the foundation and starting from the bottom and building up to make sure that you have a home that has a good roof that's going to keep you safe and warm at night. So great advice. What is the first thing that you must do to get your year-end financial planning in order? Since we're reaching the end of the year.
Yeah. So the first thing in your financial house is made up of two components, right? It's cash flow and net worth. So to determine your cash flow, you must determine how much income you bring home. And to do that, you start by adding up all your take-home pay and any other income sources you may have. And this gives you your net income. The next thing to do is look at all your expenses: housing, food, gifts, etc., bills, and include anything you spend money on regularly and subtract that number from your net income figure. And this is your cash flow. And one of our objectives today is to help you discover the benefits of adopting the financial habit of saving first and spending last. And we'll get into more detail on that later, but just remember that it is usually one of the main keys to achieving personal financial freedom and building wealth.
And I think when it comes to budgeting and figuring out what you're spending on a monthly basis, a good thing is to really, if you're not already doing it, write down everything that you spend, everything you can possibly think of, and monitor it for a month or 2 months. And I know that there's statistics, Tony, too, that when you write something down, you're actually less apt to spend it. When you're budgeting for something and wanting something, you're less apt to spend money. So think about this. These little things, simple things can really compound and have a huge impact. Tony, after figuring out how much money that you make, how much you have left over, what else should you be doing?
The next level in your financial house is risk management. Life is risky business as it is, so you need to be prepared. And there are usually 6 elements to a risk management program, and that's an emergency fund. You and your family should spend time to figure out how much money you'd like in your savings for immediate emergencies. And typically this amount is 6 months to a year's worth of living expenses these days. And some examples include, if you lose a job, you break a leg, or you can't work, or any unexpected large bills such as a home or car repair, or large medical or dental bills. Life insurance is another key piece of your risk management program. So when people generally think of life insurance, they think of life insurance you get through work. The other type of life insurance is the type you personally own, and we'll call it personal insurance. And that requires some underwriting, but you own it at the end of the day, and you control the coverage and the amount of money you contribute to it. And there are various types, but we can get to that in more detail in another time.
We could have a whole show on all the different types of life insurance.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, Tony, what else is included in protecting your family money that you see people often overlook?
Income protection is a big thing, and this covers you when you have a long-term disability such as cancer or Alzheimer's, and you see this a lot these days with GoFundMe. Your health changes unannounced, so it's best to be prepared with some form of income protection to keep your paycheck coming in when you're not able to work for a long time. And health insurance is another component that people often overlook because you just never know when you need it, and your health status, like I said earlier, can change without notice. And an interesting statistic is that the total the Milliman Medical Index in 2015 stated that the total annual cost of healthcare for a family of 4 covered by an employer-sponsored preferred provider plan was $24,671. And that's the equivalent to the cost of attending a 4-year in-state public college. Of that amount, the employer pays about $14,198, and the employee pays $10,473, representing an increase of 12% year over year.
That's crazy. And, you really need to ask yourself, Tony talks about income, where that's going to come from when you're nearing your retirement. Ask yourself, would you work for a company for 30 years without a raise? So you really need to consider if you're going to be living for 30 years plus in your retirement, are you going to be doing that without getting an increase? So, which you would not. You could not survive with that. So you really got to strategize and work with your financial planner, an individual like Tony to plan that out for your specific needs and what you're going to do. So, Tony, let's talk about retirement. When one of my listeners is nearing retirement or retired right now, what do they do?
Well, in the last piece of risk management, folks nearing retirement or those in retirement should really take the time to ask themselves how they will cover expenses for an extended care event. You see this going on so much. And again, I like to go to the GoFundMe because it's just in your face with what people are going through with an extended care event. So taking time to learn about your options for long-term care is really worthwhile.
So, Tony, now that you have reviewed your risk management, what's the next step for the blueprint?
So now that you understand the amount of money you have coming in, and you have your risk management in place, the third level of your financial house is college funding and retirement planning. So you're probably aware that college costs are escalating annually. And there are many products out there such as grandparents, 529 plans, cash value life insurance, or if you're lucky, a rich uncle to help you set aside money for college tuition. So even if you haven't started saving for your child's college education, or you feel that your current rate of saving may not be sufficient, it is not too late to set aside some funds to help secure your child's future.
So, Tony, retirement planning, where does that come into play?
So in planning for retirement, there are various options to consider. Two main categories are your qualified plans and personal savings. Qualified plans include IRAs, 401ks, and these are designed to help you accumulate money on a tax-deferred basis, on a pre-tax basis. And this means that you don't pay taxes on the money you set aside in these plans until you withdraw the money. And there are usually penalties associated with early withdrawals. And qualified plans are government controlled. In essence, the government determines how much you can contribute and save.
So, and another thing too on that, and really talking with your advisor, is strategizing and find out what you think taxes are going to do. Are you going to pay higher taxes when you're retirement, or less taxes, because that's going to determine what makes most sense. Or what is that investment, that money, going to earn you that you're not paying taxes at that time, that you're able to invest at a longer period of time. So there's a lot of different factors, and that's why having that plan and really putting that foundation together is key to having a successful financial home. What are some misconceptions, Tony, about retirement planning?
So some common...
That money's just going to show up when you retire? I bet that would be one of them.
Right. Or that you're going to work till you die.
There you go.
A few misconceptions are, what I often hear is, I don't need as much money in retirement. And the reality is money just shifts to different types of spending. So you're no longer spending on the car, but now you have higher health costs. You don't have the mortgage anymore, but you're spending more time on vacations. So really it's just, your spending habits change. And also moving to a retiree-friendly state will save you money. Generally, that is not the case, since having zero income taxes often translates into higher taxes elsewhere, such as property or sales tax. So really just take the time to review all the little intricate details in, deciding to move to a retiree-friendly state. And then one of the biggest ones is Medicare will be enough to pay for my healthcare expenses. Fidelity estimated a few years ago that a couple who retired in 2013 will need as much as $240,000 beyond their Medicare coverage to pay for healthcare costs in retirement. And Medicare only covers you up to 100 days, and anything past 100 days comes out of your pocket. Hence the need for a long-term care plan.
So, Tony, when you're meeting with your clients, what's one thing that you hear in that meeting from your clients that you wish people would have just started a little bit earlier?
Yeah, actually, there are several things I commonly hear when I sit down with folks. And one of them is, I wish I would have bought that whole life insurance when I had the money when I was young. And if you just spreadsheet out, term versus whole permanent coverage, you'll find that the term will cost you more in the long run. And it's similar to, buying a house. Rent versus buying. At the end of the day, buying is probably cheaper.
Yes.
So the other one is, I wish I would have saved more. And really, that's just flexing your savings muscles. It's like working out. You start with light weights, whether that's 50 cents a week, $50 a month, just to start developing the habit of saving money. The other one is, I wish I wouldn't have bought that bigger house and spent more money on experiences such as vacations, spending more time with family. So now you have the bigger house, but you also have high overhead, and you have to work longer hours or whatnot, depending on your salary. But, people find that spending more time with family becomes a more integral part as they get older.
Yeah.
And then also, don't be the I wish I would have person. So be the let's do it now person. My favorite quote from one of my favorite speakers, Les Brown, is, the graveyard is the richest place on earth because it is here that you will find all the hopes and dreams that were never fulfilled, the books that were never written, the songs that were never sung, the inventions that were never shared, the cures that were never discovered, all because someone was too afraid to take that first step. So to keep with the problem or determined to carry out their dream. So in essence, starting now and just taking some form of action really makes a difference.
Well said, Tony. I love Les Brown as well. A shout out to him. I actually mentioned in my book, I listen to him every morning with a lot of his motivation. So well said. Tony, thank you so much for joining me back in studio, and look forward to talking with you after the holidays.
Thank you, Tina.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, etiquette for a joy-filled holiday season. Sandy McCalla with Etiquette for You right here on 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.